It was great. I was very excited to step back into Tom's boots and revisit Green Hills again. It's the first film was a lot of fun, but it was uncharted territory for all of us, right? We were still figuring out what story we were going to tell, what he's going to look like, and and the movie was released in March, I think, end of February, early March, and it was one of the last films in theaters before the pandemic hit. And it was a big success, and so coming back for a second one is always more fun because you're less nervous about whether or not people are going to like it. So we get to have a little more fun in front of the camera, which ultimately the fans get to enjoy as well. So, but to play Tom again was always a fun one. He's like one of the characters that's more like who I am in real life, in that I'm a father of three, and this sort of buddy relationship that Tom had with Sonic the first time around has now evolved into more of a father-son relationship in the second film, which is nice that Tom has taken on this sort of father figure for Sonic, and he gets to feel welcomed into this family and everything that comes along with that, which sometimes are things that he doesn't want to hear about. Rules, right? Boundaries. And I get to guide Sonic, right? I get to teach him about the things that my father taught me, right? And you get to kind of pass that down. It's a nice sort of familial thing that they get to share together. So it's exciting, It's like I get to take some of my things I learned as being a father in real life and incorporate them into this role. The power bumps. No, I think, first of all, Tika's fantastic, and she just always she steps on set and she warms up the entire set, 'cause with her just big smile. She's always laughing. You can hear her laughing, a mile away. She's just has got this amazing capacity to enjoy, and I think that they have something really special in that they can trust each other. They feel safe with one another, and they can laugh with each other, and it's not, nothing's, no one's gonna get their feelings hurt. I think there's a moment in the movie where she makes a kind of a comment about a hot guy or something, and I'm like, control yourself. So there's no real threat there. But I think they're a great power couple because Maddie understands Tom's strengths and his weaknesses. And I think that she comes in, and when Tom starts to fly off the handle, she's like, all right, you sit down, let's chat, let's talk this out. So they complement each other really well in that they respect each other and they see each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they're still there for each other in this sort of soft place for each other to land. And I think that's a great thing to have is in a relationship. And they both love him, right? They both want to do the right thing for each other. But they want to do right by him, but they also want to be, they admit that they're kind of learning along the way as well. Tom and Sonic's relationship has grown in a way that in the first film, it was more of a buddy comedy, right? It was two guys on a road trip and eating chili dogs and making fart jokes and being pals, and that evolved into surprisingly, I think, for Tom, into a sort of father-son relationship, and because Tom is now seeing that Sonic is becoming a teenager, and he's doing everything that teenagers do. It's like push the boundaries and sneak out at night, and he's sneaking out and trying to save the world, and maybe sometimes doing that a bit recklessly, and so Tom and Maddie have to come in and say, hey, we can't. you gotta have limits, and you can't go looking for trouble. There's gonna be a time where your powers are needed, but you gotta let that come to you, and enjoy being a kid. You are growing up. There's things you don't understand yet, and I'm not saying that righteously. I'm saying it as a father who cares about you and just wants you to understand that there's certain things. There's reasons why you can't do certain things when you're young, and you have to wait till you're older. And I think that's Tom kind of finding his footing as a parent for the first time too, right? This is like, he's a newly minted father, essentially, and to a superhero, right? To this like blue alien hedgehog. Where's the manual for that? So it's nice. It's like, I think the perfect relationship between a child and a parent is one where they both respect each other and they can both learn from each other. And that's what I think that Tom and Sonic have. Well, I'd be a fool if I didn't say Hawaii. Yeah, it did. Everything just kind of got multiplied times 1,000 this time around. I mean, the action sequences are crazier, and they span, you know, these adventures that he goes on. He's traveling the world, this kid. But for me, you know, we kind of say adios at the beginning of the movie and head off for a wedding in Hawaii, which is different than Vancouver during the winter. So I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy that. So it was nice to, boy, be on a sandy beach in Hawaii and shooting a movie. Like, doesn't really, if you complain about that, you have a problem. But that was cool, and to bring, you know, all these new characters in from the video game, and I think that, you know, this movie takes everything from the first film, and like I said, just multiplies it, and the scope has increased, and just the scale of the set pieces and these crazy action sequences. It's you got elements of it that are like Indiana Jones, and some of it like a giant Marvel movie. So I think the fans are going to dig it, and they'll be excited to see what we got in store for them next time around. That was great. I mean, that was like a bucket list thing, right? I get to punch Jim Carrey a couple of times in the first movie, but actually just, you know, share these really funny scenes with him. And he's a very generous actor. We sit there and talk about the scene, and I remember on the first film, I came up with an idea for a line, and he loved it, and it was like the best feeling in the world. Because he comes in with really specific ideas about what he wants to do, so it's great. I mean, he's a hero of mine. He's a comedy legend, and to be up there on the screen with him is I don't know, like pretty special thing. I don't get starstruck much, but I definitely do when he steps on set. That's a tough one, boy, because I love a gadget. But I would have to stick with Sonic's speed, I think. You know, the strength, I don't know what would I use that for? I don't know. The speed would get me from point A to point B a lot quicker, which I think is one of we still haven't figured out how to teleport yet, which would be nice. If I could avoid ever going to an airport ever again, it would be nice. So if I got Sonic's super speed, that'd be nice. Well, you said it. I mean, this is an iconic, beloved character, and the fans are, you know, they want it done right, and they want to love going to see the movie. And there have been adaptations from video games before that haven't really worked out. So we were acutely aware of that, and we wanted to get the design right. And they're very vocal, and I would be too. And I want nothing more than for them to be happy, but also introduce this character to people who didn't even know who Sonic was. The movie should be for everyone. It should be for kids and adults alike, and people who know the Sonic universe and who aren't familiar with it at all. So I'm very happy that the fans are as jazzed as they are about seeing the second one and every adventure that we have on tap for them. Right now, let's see, it's March. Thinking weather. Where would I go? South of France. Sounds kind of nice right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. My go-to donut order. Oh boy. I think a dozen Krispy Kremes sounds like pretty good, right? Just your standard old classic glazed. Hard to beat that. Can't get too fancy with certain things. Peanut butter, don't get fancy with it. Light switches, just keep it a switch. And donuts, the more basic, the better.
How exciting that I get to return to the role of Sonic. Because first of all, to be in a movie that comes out in movie theaters and people end up liking is just such a thrill. So the idea to do it again feels incredible. And, you know, I had so much fun doing the first one that I really wanted to get a chance to do another one. And if we did, just what Jeff Fowler did is he blew it out, and it's like bigger, more epic. There's more comedy, there's way more action, there's more CG characters, there's more for fans, there's more for new fans. So it's been an absolute joy. And then to work with Jeff Fowler is the best. He has a beautiful vision in his head, but at the same time, loves to play, loves to hear some improv, whatever makes the movie better. So it's been an absolute joy. Yeah, so since the film first came out, it's been amazing because, listen, I know how passionate these fans are. I'm a video game fan. I'm the audience for this movie if I wasn't in this movie. So I know how passionate we are and how specific we are and how much we care about these characters. So the idea that we were embraced, the idea that people understand that we're listening to them, which we've made very clear, that we want to do whatever it takes to make the best version of this movie. It's been surreal and gorgeous and wonderful. So I feel lovely that we've been accepted by the fans and that they keep wanting us to make these movies. And my hope is that we keep making them until we can't make any more, until we've exhausted, all the fun things that are in the video games and all the fun things that we've evolved with the heart of all these characters. Sure, so when I'm in that sound booth, I get to, so this is what happens. I get in there, I get to see versions of the film. I get to see rough cuts of the film because they've already filmed it oftentimes. In the first one, not so much. In this one, they did. And we go through the script as is, and then we go through it where I get to play. And if there's any moment we're watching in the scene that has a little place where I can put in a joke, we do it. And then what I even do is afterwards, I watch the whole rough cut of it. And if I have any ideas for things to add, we go for it. And then throughout the whole process, my role is the one they can tweak the most, because they're not putting me on camera and it doesn't cost nearly as much money as doing a reshoot. So using Sonic, you can kind of tweak a feeling in a scene, you could tweak a moment, you could add a moment. So it's been really exciting to be a part of that. And then my process in the booth is just always making sure that I'm being a heart-forward character, that you care about the things that are happening to Sonic, and also that the idea that I can add some comedy. Sonic oftentimes doesn't take things very seriously, so when he does take something seriously, the stakes are big, and this is a huge moment. So I like to play with the idea of, bringing as much comedy as I can, and then when it's time to get serious, to get those small moments and those big moments and those dramatic moments. It's funny, it's a very generic thing. It's not like a huge deep cut, but the way that Sonic is carried by Tails when he flies away is something, if you grew up in the 90s like I did and played two players with a sibling or a best friend, the only way you could play Sonic 2 was one of them had to be Tails and one of them had to be Sonic, and Tails was oftentimes not the most exciting character because the story, you're usually controlling Sonic, but the way that Tails picks up Sonic when he flies away is something very iconic in the video games. So to see it in the movie was awesome. I loved it. And then also Knuckles, I was a huge Knuckles fan too, so to see Knuckles in there really look like a movie version of himself was so cool. I would want to have Sonic speed because then I could go anywhere I want. I could go to vacation anywhere I want. I can go to Australia for a second, come right back. I think that would be so fun because I can always become friends with Tails. I can always ask him for his gadgets. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think at the beginning, Tom was Sonic's first friend, real friend. And now they've spent time together and they feel almost like their parents, right? They have that feeling of parents. And I think Sonic starts to rebel against what Tom is saying. So I think the evolution is kind of like what a kid goes through when, you're growing up with your parents and there's a piece of you that's wants to rebel a little bit until you learn from your parents that you have to be able to ask for help. You have to listen, what they're saying is valuable. Don't just push it aside and stuff like that. And so I think that's a big arc for Sonic. The idea that he thinks he can do everything by himself. He doesn't need these parental figures around. And then you slowly find out you do. The idea of people being there for you is important. The idea of teamwork is important. So I think those ideals really get shined upon really beautifully in the movie. Oh my goodness. There's a casino one that's pretty amazing. And also in Sonic Mania, there's this incredible film world or zone, whatever you want to call it, that I love so much. I just played it. I found it to be so interesting. I know I'm in film, maybe that's why, but there's a casino zone in an earlier game, but in Sonic Mania, I thought they did such a good job with this movie version of a level. I thought it was awesome. Wow, right now we've been talking a lot about Hawaii, and I've never been to Hawaii, so I think I'd take a ring to, I've talked about Hawaii so much and not being able to go that I hope someone from Hawaii is just get over here. But yeah, I would probably go to Hawaii because now everybody on set has been there except for me. I hope they understand that we had the opportunity to make the sequel, so we made it bigger, we put more action in it, we put more comedy in it. I also hope they see the heart that Sonic goes through. I hope they see the teamwork that it takes to achieve your goals. There are these fun little things that kids can grab onto and enjoy, and then there are these wonderful things that adults can watch as well. So I hope also ultimately they fall in love with the movie so they get themselves excited for the third one and even more stuff that we have up our sleeve. Which would I choose? Flying with Tails. Sonic Speed. Austrian Goat Milk, because I love Lee. Officer Wade, because I've done comedy with Adam Pally for a very long time. My goodness, that's really difficult. Both are terrible. I mean, that mustache is enormous. Either way, you're going to be known as that person. You're going to be known as Goggles or Mustache. So I'm going to say Goggles, because to grow the mustache is probably 3 years anyway. So I'm going to say Goggles. I can take them off whenever I want. Or I can put eyeballs. I can paint eyeballs in front of them. And I could just say it's really windy outside. That's why I'm wearing these. As opposed to the mustache. There's no excuse. Hawaii. Hawaii. What are we doing?
I mean, I think the response has been people are on edge to get to the next one. They're like, what could possibly be in this next film? And the excitement is palpable, and we're just as excited for everybody to see what we've all been working on. And I think, again, I can't say excitement enough, but I think a lot of people are ready for some more joy and just some relief and of the stress that's going on in the world. And so I'm excited for them to see Sonic and all the other characters that are involved.
Oh, yeah. I think that the response has been, like you said, pure excitement, and it's been exacerbated by like the teasers and the trailers and like the little snippets that are going out there. They only serve to feed the hunger of folks wanting to see what's next, what's in store, especially because we have some new characters. So we have, Tails and Knuckles on board, and so people are excited to see where that story goes. Maddie and Rachel make an incredible duo. I feel like the energy that we had in the first one we only see more of that in this next one. We see their bond grow. We see a real sisterhood. We see what they're like when, push comes to shove. It really shows your character. And we just ride for each other as Rachel and Maddie and as Natasha and Tika. And so I think it's really cool to see that relationship grow, and just what a cool team they make, of unexpected heroes.
She said everything. I'm really excited for audiences to see the other characters involved, right? And because it layers every single moment that happens, even between us and between Tom and Robotnik. Like, everything is so much more layered. Everything is bigger. Everything is broader. And I think something else gets pulled out of Sonic that makes everybody grow in a different way, and then we're able to tell whatever the next phase of that story is. So, yeah.
I am excited for audiences to see just how far all of the characters have come, and I think audiences also are going to see another side to Sonic. I think that just as Tom and Maddie are getting to know Sonic and what he's about, they get to know him even more, and so does the audience, by way of that. And I think it's going to be so much fun, too, for audiences to see the both of us as, like, action heroes, kind of, to be able to, play around in that genre, especially in the way that it's written and sort of, dovetails into all of Sonic's action. I think that audiences are going to get a kick out of it, just to see two sisters really take control. And, I think they need to strap in for the ride.
Oh my gosh, there's too many. One of them obviously was Hawaii. I think that was just a blast, and I think that's where we got to work the most. Another was in Vancouver. I mean, this huge, just outside blast. I don't know what it was. There was a lot of fire. And I was just sitting there like, this feels like the Terminator or something. Like, it was like that kind of big set piece. And so it was just very cool to be part of situations that a lot of the times women don't get to do the action part all the time, or be part of that part of the movie. And so, again, it was more like Hawaii and Vancouver.
Yeah. I think my favorite location was Hawaii because that's the only place I shot. And really upset about it?
You didn't have to quarantine for 2
I know, that's right. I did not have to do that, luckily. No, but it was so beautiful to shoot there, and I think that it was so fun to play sort of like the two two sort of worlds happening where we were on this sort of like Sonic extraterrestrial adventure, and we're running through scenes where people are sunbathing and just trying to enjoy their vacation. And it was just, it was super cool. The backdrop was beautiful, and they just really made the most of the island, and it was so fun to shoot there, and the crew was incredible. So it was fun.
Oh, that's so tough. I would still take Sonic. So the extraterrestrial that I would have, the hedgehog, that I would go for is Sonic. One, because he is super fast, and I would want a vacation at least once a week. Yeah. Or if I wanted pasta in Italy, I could go and get pasta and come right back. Or if I needed to get my child ready very fast in the morning, oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
I want to say Sonic, but I also just relate to Tails and gadgets. I have so many gadgets that are not useful, just lying around my house because I love technology. So to be like, oh, I could actually have a relationship to technology that's useful, I think that could be really cool. Because maybe, Tails could build a machine to get me to, a pasta in Italy quickly.
Well, you can fly.
Well, I mean, also we would be going there together. Let's be real.
Yeah, let's be real.
We'd go get the fettuccine together so we could use both of them.
Love it.
Oh, man. Where would I go? Maybe Morocco? I've always wanted to go to Morocco, but I mean, we've been talking about pasta for a minute, so now I just want to go to Sicily or, I don't know, Florence and get some of that.
If I had Sonic's rings, I would probably go to like the Maldives. Oh. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we deserve that.
We deserve that. We deserve a Fiji. We deserve
a Bora Bora.
That's right.
We deserve that water.
I feel certain of it. I feel like we would make a lot of use of the rings. Let's just say that.
We would use all of them.
Well, it was a new and improved and more dastardly Dr. Robotnik. I think this time he's 3.0 times 1,000, and he comes back not only filled with vengeance and a gigantic chip on his shoulder, the size of the Grand Canyon, but he comes back having dabbled in the mushroom planet. I don't know what he got into over there, but something happened. He carved off all his hair because that, frankly, was the hair of a loser. He lost that battle, the initial battle. And the mustache was just an outward manifestation of ego. And it really is commensurate with the size of his ego. And so he comes back not as just a brilliant genius who wants to do evil things. He comes back in his own mind now as a demigod. I think the thing that excites me with Robotnik is the look of the transformation, the way it keeps evolving, the way the megalomaniacal energy keeps evolving, keeps growing. It's the nothingness, the creeping nothingness that is taking over his soul and eventually the whole world. So I can't wait till they see the transformation of the character when he gets the emerald energy and the play that he does, the kind of, I can be here, but I can be over there too. And now that I'm quantum with my evil, I can speak like a Moog synthesizer, and he can play and have fun with his own evil and his own abilities, but also the mech is really cool. The robot, that the manifestation of him as a gigantic robot that he controls from within the brain, suspended on Tesla-like energy and coils, in midair and controlling this mechanism with his mind. It's really fun. It was incredibly uncomfortable to do, but really fun at the same time. And I cannot wait to see what the digital geniuses do with all that. The Emerald Cave, to me, was a really fun set, reminiscent of an Indiana Jones kind of thing, and we kind of do tribute to Indiana Jones in that, in a comedic way. But also the most uncomfortable I was in the film was hanging from those harnesses and doing that electric brain of the giant robot. They had a way of kind of projecting these wild things behind me so I could really get a sense of how it was going to be in the actual film. And we would play incredible, like raunchy death metal music and stuff like that while I was making my little motions and my gun pantomimes. And Pantera was big in those shots. We would, respect, walk. Are you talking to me? That kind of stuff. And so I had a lot of fun on those. Knuckles is the muscle man. Knuckles is the guy who's going to do the enforcing. Robotnik, yeah, he's formidable. He's got a good brain, but he can't bust down walls like Knuckles can. And Knuckles was his way off the mushroom planet. And not only that, but he'll use anybody he can use. If you have a special talent for something that can be used for evil purposes, Robotnik is right there with you, your biggest fan. But don't turn your back, because he really doesn't need you all that much once the job is done. Since the first film came out, I think people have fallen in love with the idea of this being actually brought to life. I think they saw right out of the gate that we were concerned about, what they felt and how they felt about how the characters are depicted. And I certainly want to do a good job with Robotnik so that they feel they got the experience of it coming to life. I love that. I love that. And gamers are really dedicated. Once they love something, they are the best kind of fans. I mean, they really are religious about it, and you better make them happy, So I hope they're happy with it. I think it's going to a cool place, and I think Sonic turned out to be a cool collaboration between the fans and the creators.
I think audiences need to see this movie in theater because it's so big. It's there's so much action. The getting to see those characters of Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Robotnik interacting, I think it needs to be seen on the big screen. So my character's name is Agent Stone. He is the right-hand man to the genius Dr. Robotnik. He serves him, and he makes a mean latte with steamed Austrian goat milk. So at the beginning of Sonic 2, Agent Stone works at the Mean Bean coffee shop. And he's waiting, hopefully, for Dr. Robotnik's return. And he's made some preparations in anticipation of that. He's also been quite sad without him. So what it means to me to be part of the franchise is it's a dream come true. I grew up with the video games. Sonic 2 specifically was the first game I played. So there's always been a soft spot for Sonic. And then to come on board and work for a studio like Paramount, another check on that bucket list. And then to work with Jim Carrey, who's a big hero of mine, another check on that bucket list. I think it's a perfect example of, the saying that, dreams come true. I think audiences will walk away with, Sonic's just always trying to do his best. He's trying to figure it out. He's constantly going through growing pains. It's a coming of age story. And I think a lot of us can identify with, doing the best you can and making mistakes and having to learn from those mistakes and take responsibility. So what I think a mushroom latte tastes like, there's the acidity of the coffee bean with the bitterness of a mushroom. I think you'd need to add a little bit of sweetness in there somewhere, or else it won't work. Being asked to come back to play Agent Stone, again, a dream come true. To see where he's been while Dr. Robotnik's been gone, how he's been going through grief in a sense, and also anticipating his return. For me, it was just another opportunity to see, okay, how can we make this lovable character evolve, and where do we see this relationship going with him and Dr. Robotnik? Working with Jim Carrey's an incredible experience. He's a very gracious, generous, big-hearted human being. Always had these incredible ideas, ways to develop the relationship itself. Always found opportunities for little old me to shine. So grateful, so grateful. Ooh, if I had to pick between Sonic's speed, Tails' gadgets, and Knuckles' strength, I mean, I think I'd go with Tails' brain. His gadgets I can make myself if I have Tails' mind. Robotnik. No. Who would I pick as my sidekick? Gotta go. I mean, in this movie, Tails is so adorable. I gotta go with Tails. I gotta go with Tails. Ooh, that's a good question. If I could use the rings to go anywhere, where would I go right now? I don't know why Machu Picchu keeps popping up in my head. So Machu Picchu.
My favorite gadget of Tails would have to be his language interpreter, which is not always accurate, but very fun. What I love most about Tails is his willingness to be there for Sonic at any given moment. He's so loyal and he's so sweet, and he's spunky, and he's willing to jump in even if he's afraid. This film really needs to be seen in the theater. It is epic. It's got action, it's got heart, it's got funny, but the cinematic is that a word? The movie-going experience is that much more in a theater, I think. My character is Tails. He is a young little fox with two tails. He is smart and spunky. He creates these gadgets, and he is Sonic's best friend. Audiences are going to get action. They're going to get good versus bad. They're going to get friendship development. They're going to get funny. They're going to get heartfelt. This movie has everything. It has all the feels. It ranges with emotion and action and peril and all of the things. And if you're a video game fan, you're going to get Easter eggs like you would not believe. It was so exciting when I learned that I was going to play Tails. I never expected it. I am thrilled beyond. The words have not been developed yet that express the feeling. It's just, I'm over the moon. I'm so excited. And I'm honored to get to play this character in such a grand scope, and that the fans are excited about it too. That it just warms my heart, and I'm so thrilled. So thank you. In real life, I think I would rather have, between Sonic speed, Knuckles strength, and Tails gadgets. I'm going to go with gadgets. And I know it's not just because I play Tails. It's because, this world is filled with technology and it's changing. And so if you can get on the cutting edge of that, I think that's always advisable. If I had to pick a sidekick, Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles. Tails is the ultimate sidekick, but that would be the obvious answer. So I'm gonna go with Knuckles, because he's gonna have your back, and he's strong and powerful and intimidating, and I think he could really be there for you. So my process in the sound booth, it's really the same working on a game versus the movie. The biggest difference, I think, is the situations that Tails finds himself in. We're seeing him at the beginning of the relationship with Sonic as opposed to a relationship that's already established. Another huge difference was we were doing this during a pandemic. So I was in my closet for some of it. I did get to go into the studio a few times on the lot at Paramount, which was very exciting. But it still was people on screens. I was in the booth by myself, engineer was in his section, and then we had director and everybody else on screens. So that was very different. What I was used to working in voiceover over this pandemic, I had been doing it that way. So it wasn't a big surprise, but typically on something like this, you would have people in person, and perhaps working with the other actors as well. I did get to work with Ben, which was amazing. We were via Zoom as well, but he was somewhere else. But at least we did get that give and take, which was fantastic. Oh, if I had a ring to go anywhere in the world, I think I'd go to Africa. I've always wanted to go on safari in Africa. I think would be amazing. So just throw my ring and off I go and see lions and elephants.
Oh, just so exciting to get to take some of the characters we teased from the first film. Tails was someone we brought in as a post-credit tease at the end of the first movie, and obviously a huge fan favorite. And so to get to continue the story, to grow the world, to bring in characters like Tails and Knuckles, and continue to expand on our characters like Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, it was all just a dream come true. And we had such a great time growing the world, growing the mythology, and just making a bigger movie, but with all the stuff you loved about the first. Oh, it's just a thrill ride. I mean, it's a roller coaster, but it's so big, so cinematic, so fun, but it's also got all that same heart, all the same emotion that we are so proud of and feel so strongly about from the first film. But getting to tell a new story with more characters, with fan favorite characters, is just, it was great. And just, I'm so excited for audiences to see it. Well, Sonic's first movie was really about finding a family and finding a little bit of community, and also just starting to learn about his powers and how they work. And this movie is very much a continuation of that journey. He has these incredible powers, he wants to be a hero, but he's kind of sort of forcing it a little bit, and he needs some fatherly wisdom from Tom. Tom just gives him some really great advice. He says, I know you want to do great things, but you don't choose the moment chooses you. And so Sonic initially doesn't really understand the wisdom of that, and goes on this incredible adventure and goes through this experience that really forces him to grow as a character and to really understand what the true nature of being a hero is all about. So, and then of course he is expanding his world with new characters like Tails and Knuckles, and yeah, but it really is a continuation of all of the great stories and themes from the first film. Oh, just fantastic. I mean, I've loved these characters for 30 years, and to have an opportunity to do the movie version and to cast actors like Idris Elba, who does an incredible job with Knuckles, and he's such a great addition to our movie universe. And then Tails, who's another fan favorite. I mean, we have so many wonderful characters to choose from as we grow this Sonic universe in the movies, and getting to bring in Knuckles and Tails. Tails is played by Colleen O'Shaughnessey, who has played the character for many, many years, knows Tails inside and out, and is just an absolute joy to work with. So wonderful casting. Everyone just absolutely crushed it. And yeah, I'm so excited for fans to see what we've done with their characters. Oh, that's just the greatest thing about Jim Carrey. He just cares so much about his characters and is so invested in them. And we had so many conversations, even before we were filming the sequel, just about how to grow Dr. Robotnik, how to have more fun with this kind of descent into madness that we sort of teased at the end of the first film, where of course you see him in his much more traditional look, the bald head, the giant mustache, and Jim just was so excited about getting to continue to play with that character, have more fun, more great opportunities for that humor that everyone knows and loves, that Jim is so such a genius at. So we had a wonderful experience. He brings so many ideas to set every day, and the movie gets better because of it. So I just feel so fortunate. I don't know how we ended up so lucky to have Jim playing Dr. Robotnik in our Sonic universe, but it's just phenomenal. The relationship between Sonic and Tom is really the heart of our first movie, and such an integral part of any story that we're telling in our movie universe. So whereas in the first film, it was very much Sonic and Tom, Tom becoming Sonic's first friend on Earth, this is a little bit of time has passed since the end of the first film, and now we're seeing Tom and Maddie, Tika Sumpter's character, grow into much more of a parental sort of situation. Sonic is the teenager in their lives, but they care very deeply for him. They love him. It's much more of a family unit. And so we use those relationships to really draw upon just some relatable emotion. I mean, something that every parent and every kid in the audience is going to kind of understand what Sonic and Tom are going through. Tom wants the best for Sonic. Sonic has these incredible powers. He wants to be out there using them, but maybe he's being a little reckless about it. Maybe he kind of needs to pump the brakes a little bit and listen to some of the advice Tom is giving to him. But teenagers don't always want to listen to their parents, as we all know. So it's just grounding these characters. Even though he's a little blue hedgehog with super speed, he's still a very relatable kid. And Tom and Maddie love him deeply and just want the best for him. But James is so incredible. James and Tika both as those sort of parental figures in Sonic's life. Two of the funniest and most talented women I've ever met. I mean, they're both so incredible. And to get to have some fun with them, with Natasha's character getting remarried, and the fun that we were able to do with that wedding, and just give them some really great stuff. Give Tika and Natasha some business, some really great stuff to do. And I think it's some of the funniest stuff in the movie. As I said, they're both such amazing, such effortlessly funny ladies, and you could just see how much fun they were having together as the two sisters. And it's just it really adds some great personality and humor to the movie. Ben Schwartz was born to play this character. I mean, he's got such a manic energy to him. He's so funny. He's such a great person. He's just such a positive sort of spirit, and that's everything that Sonic is. I mean, Sonic is a motor mouth. He's funny. And it's everything. So Sonic and Ben were just a match made in heaven. We're so lucky to have Ben and everything that he brings. He cares so much about this character. He works so hard in the recording booth to give us everything we need to go off and do the animation with. And he's just always checking in, always wanting to make sure we have what we need. He'll send us sort of little pickup recordings off his iPhone that we can just drop into the movie to see how they feel. But just an amazing creative partner, and we wouldn't have the Sonic that we have in these movies without Ben. He's the best. Tails, played by Colleen O'Shaughnessey. I mean, she has been playing this character for a very long time. She knows that little fox inside out, and just honestly, it makes my job so easy because she knows more about Tails probably than I do, and can really inform so many aspects of the performance, all that sort of inside knowledge of who Tails is and how he balances Sonic and their relationship. But just an incredible talent, such a joy to work with. Was so excited to bring her in for the sequel. I can't believe we got to do as much as we did. I mean, this movie is huge. I thought surely they would say no to something, but we got to do it all, and it's such a huge fun movie because of it, and I'm so happy that we got to do all of it. I honestly, it's hard to pick a favorite because what I love most is just the variety. 1 minute we're in a crazy snowboard battle in the mountains, or we're in an ancient temple that could have been out of Lord of the Rings, or it's navigating a crazy labyrinth with booby traps like Indiana Jones. I mean, it's the stuff that makes me love this franchise the most, is that we get to do such a variety. It's really not limited to one genre. We can really just have fun with action, with adventure, with sci-fi, with fantasy. It's all that stuff, and it all kind of can come together, and it's all completely appropriate for Sonic. I mean, for 30 years, this character, all the stories, all the worlds, it all kind of goes into the pot. But just could not be more excited about what the audience, the ride that they're going to go on, and get to see all these wonderful set pieces.